I bought this house like 10 years ago, and
Man.
I don't know. There's like an amateur butcher who lived here. And,
Or
and there's
slash
this
Ed
serial
Gein.
killer.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
mean,
say.
there's this workbench and a meat cleaver and wrapping paper for meat. And I just threw my shit down and started working. And I never like did anything. And there's resin all over the floor. So
Jeffrey Dahmer used to live here.
yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Dov, and welcome to DKE Toys TV.
We're back.
We are back. DKE Con was fun and challenging, and we took a break, and then I got sick, and I'm still a little sick. But our guest today is the fantastic Steve Casino.
Hi. I didn't bring my air horn to the studio. Damn it.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Hey Steve, welcome. So for people who don't know who you are, could you introduce yourself and tell them what you do?
I'm Steve Casino, and that's my real name. I don't have a cool toy name because it's like
because it's already a cool name.
Yeah.
I do many things, but I'm by trade a toy inventor. I work for the main companies like Mattel and Hasbro, and I also am an artist. I have like two careers. I work 24 hours a day, never sleep. I make toys on the side. I make art on the side. I illustrate things. It just whatever tickles my fancy.
Nice. And so for your day job, when you're inventing stuff, is all of that like a work for hire? Like when you create something for a company, then they own it?
So I work with a group called Bang Zoom Design, and we're a group of inventors. We're like a think tank. And we come up with ideas, like say Mattel will come to us and say, we need a new Barbie item, to fit into this new segment. $20 has to wow us, so we'll brainstorm and come up with models and build mechanisms and like whatever we can.
That's cool.
We do games, we do all kinds of stuff. We work for Hasbro, pretty much every company, Spin Master, Moose, Playmates.
And what happens if you fail to wow them? You get
We don't get paid.
So are you guys bidding jobs against other companies?
Well, we have competitors, so they send out the call to other companies like ours, and we compete against them. We have to be more creative than them, and we're all pretty experienced, and we're all like toy fanatics, so we've managed to hang in there a long time.
How many inventors are there at the company?
Well, not everyone invents, but there's probably 7 employees.
Got it. And how many are like responsible for like, bringing creative ideas? Like
maybe like 4 or 5 of us. 4.
Got it. And
I don't
so
know. Depends on how creative they're.
Do the 4 or 5 of you collaborate? Like, are you in a room together, or are you each creating your own stuff?
We kind of bring ideas to the table, or we'll just like, this one guy, Steve Fink's the main dude at the place. He's like he's the mouthpiece and the chief creative guy, and he'll walk back and say, hey, Playmates has this slot, they need this item, and does anybody have any ideas? And we'll either throw ideas at him on the spot, or sit down and have a meeting and bring ideas that we like thought of beforehand.
What a fun fucking job.
No, it's really cool, but it's very refreshing. It is so hard to sell a toy. We managed to do it year after year, but it's really hard.
I can imagine.
But so still the work that is being done is technically a work for hire. It's just a work for hire because you work for this other company.
Yes, well, we work on spec, or sometimes we get them to float us a little money to develop an idea if they like it. But we work on royalties.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
How sorry.
You go-
How often do you come up with something and you go, "No, I'm going to keep that for myself"?
I never do that because, well, there's definitely a separation between, what I do as an artist and what I do for, a toy company. And it's so it's so narrow and specific what the ideas for a toy company. And, what I come up with as an artist is like very blue sky, crazy. No toy companies. It's not like the '80s Galoob where they just made whatever, they thought of. Farminators.
Those were the days.
Yeah, so it's very specific and it's fun, but it's you really have to stay within the lines.
Got it.
But every once in a while, I'll see you'll post something that got rejected, and I'm like, but that's genius. Like, to me, that would be soul crushing, because I'd be like, look, if you guys are gonna pass on this Goosebumps tape dispenser,
Oh,
then
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
know what we're doing here.
Well, see, that was like, actually, I was working in-house as a designer when I did that type of stuff. And that was kind of like the roots of doing toy inventing, but it was like the client, like Goosebumps, will come to a toy company and we'll have the license. And this is in the past. And they would say, we just need a whole like back to school line and like go crazy. And so we went crazy. So
And then they say, hey, too crazy.
actually, I have something right here. So this is like one of my first inventions ever. And it was he sits up with his pencils.
That's awesome.
It's very dangerous because they're sharpened pencils.
12 children lost their eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly. I've almost lost my eyes.
That's amazing. So basically what you're saying is all the ideas that you come up with when you're at the day job belong to the company that you're working for.
Yes.
And then
they compensate me and pay for this.
So that was all work for her. And then you sort of it seems like you sort of balance that with your private art career. How do you distinguish between the two?
It's I'm just always coming up with ideas and all those weird ones that don't apply to the regular toy industry. I see if I can apply them into art toys or some fake figure or.
So there's no real conflict. It's just so different.
Right.
And
they don't care. They like it that I do all this other stuff because it keeps me creative.
Well, can we show something that's just so crazy ridiculous that you do that is like that if you tried to explain it to someone on the street, like they wouldn't believe you. So am I correct that you cast a Tic Tac in resin?
Yes.
And then you paint on them. And then you put them in a blister.
It's like the painting on a grain of rice, but level 3000 with like the blister and the card. And
Where did this blister come from?
A Benadryl tablet. I become a Benadryl addict from doing that.
See, I didn't know that you were casting those. My brother used to do these Easter egg hunts or treasure hunts or whatever. And one of the things on there was paint a portrait of someone on a Tic Tac. And he's like, Scott, you got to do this for me. Painting on it, but the sugar started lifting off of it. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? So then when I see you doing it, I'm like, how is he doing this?
Right. As soon as you get a little paint on there, wouldn't it start to run? Like, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
I've also seen the work you do like on a peanut right? Like.
Yes. What happened was, so I did peanuts for a while and I was like, this is really cool. And I tried to get like some kind of deal with planters and that wasn't working out. So because Planters doesn't actually use shelled peanuts, they sell Mr. Peanut and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Tic Tacs are very specific. you know, and I'm going to become the Jared of Tic Tacs, not Jared the bad Jared, you know, who got canceled. So I'm like, I'm going to start painting Tic Tacs, and you know, it'll be so cool. Maybe the Tic Tac Corporation will sponsor me. And, you know,
wait, hold on 1 second. Which is the good Jared?
Jared before, you know, everything happened.
Oh,
the guy
it's the
in the
same.
commercial,
It's the
the guy in
same
the commercials
Jared. It's
making
just
millions of dollars, not the dark
It's
side.
before we knew what he was up to. Jared.
got it.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I'll pitch myself as that Jared without the tendencies.
Wow.
This episode's gonna boost your social standing a lot here. So.
This
Wow. No, but you know what I mean, like a sponsor, like whatever. And you know what? It actually got the attention of the Tic Tac Corporation.
Nice.
And you know what they sent me?
Cease and desist?
An advent calendar with Tic Tacs in it. That's as far as my career with Tic Tac went.
Wow. So,
I remember the first time I ever saw your work, I was at the first Cincinnati Comic-Con that Tony Moore put on.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I was walking and I just see this table full of like peanut characters, and I was like, holy shit, what is, and you weren't there to talk to. So, and then like, I don't know how many years later, 12 years later, I started seeing your work, and I was like, holy crap, that's the peanut guy from the Cincinnati Comic-Con who's making these amazing pull toys. And I don't know, it's pretty cool.
the first time that we met and I saw your work, I was actually with Scott, right? We were at the Gallery 1988 show with Dan O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
that
walked
was
in there,
chaos.
I was like, and you had the shining pull toys and all that, and I was like, what? That was insane.
Brad Hill was in that show.
That was a fun show. Yeah, I was there with Scott. That was amazing. So anyway, I commissioned this because I do things. I like things in sets, which is just sort of a problem. But I said, could you do all the original 12 Star Wars figures in Tic Tacs? And then this framed piece showed up.
Wow. Amazing. Holy crap. Wow.
Wow.
Can you imagine? How long does each one of these things take?
A couple of hours. A lot of trial and error.
You have to throw away like a lot of work?
No, I just scrape them off and start over.
Got it.
But getting everything in the right space on there and getting the eyes, you know, it's like you can't be off very much because it doesn't align.
So I didn't expect them all in this beautiful frame, which is fantastic. But then, you know, I guess he pays attention. He just tempted me with this little snaggletooth.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get me. He's like, here, I gave you a snaggletooth for free. And then I saw on Instagram the other day, he was working on a Greedo. And I was like, shit. There's a sucker born every minute.
Pro tip: if you ever need rent money or make a cantina alien.
I can hear Ian. Ian's in the warehouse, so the mics don't, mix, but I can hear him cackling in the other room. Amazing.
No, it's like I don't like see like those as like anything to do with my career or anything. I just really enjoy making those little figures. I could do that the rest of my life and be happy. Just there's something very therapeutic about it.
That's amazing. So could you do your day job and not your personal work and still be happy and fulfilled as an artist?
Yes, I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
But then I got into toy inventing and I loved it. And then I don't know, year 15 of it, I started doing the peanut art.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of like lit a fire under me to just do actual artwork again.
And
in my early career, I did other stuff. So
how archival is the peanut? You were actually doing it. You weren't casting peanut shells, right? You were just. Yeah. So there's a lot of work out there just on a peanut shell, and is it slowly just turning to dust?
No, what I do is I take a peanut. I find the peanut. Like I'll find one if I'm making you, for example. Find one that fits your head and torso.
A Dove peanut.
Yeah.
Please stop giving Janky ideas.
I crack it open.
Wow. Sorry.
I crack it open. I remove the nuts, the actual nuts, throw them away. It's a raw peanut because they're not, roasted, and the strength of the shell's not compromised.
Oh,
I didn't even
okay.
think about
Got
that.
it.
Interesting, yeah.
And then
And
the raw peanut you have to throw away because you can't eat it.
Right. Then I shellac the inside and the outside and seal it. And I glue it back together. So the starting point is that thing's like sealed for eternity.
Wow.
And then I do all the painting and everything on it.
And a lot of it's Sculpey, right? Or some sort of
yeah, just
forms and
mostly
stuff.
Sculpey.
Okay. So
But then people started giving you shit online, right? Because you were taking vintage like Nintendo cartridges and cutting them open and sculpting stuff on them, and then like Nintendo people started losing their minds, right? And then you
Yes.
started taunting them, and you're like, ha ha ha, and you just like start.
So yes, I did that, but what I did was I started doing that on purpose so that they'd write me horrible things, and then it would give me an opportunity to write funny things back to them. And then I'd make art, not art, but like I'd post that as something, entertaining to me.
Those videos are the best. Like
they're hilarious because at first when I noticed you were doing them, it was just there was a couple comments. Oh, you think you beat your shit? Why would you ruin Bart versus the Space Mutant? It's my favorite game. Game stinks. But what I noticed you started doing is you would take the chip out because they started commenting. They're like, well, you didn't have to destroy the chip.
Oh, that's right. And then you took the hammer to it.
Or the bandsaw, or I mean, those chips have been violated in so many ways.
But it's like they don't realize it's the same chip. I mean, sometimes it's like it's not even the chip from the game. I'm just doing that on purpose. I'm just goading. I'm goading people because I think it's really funny. Them writing me crazy comments, and then I'll sit back and I'll go, wait. And then sometimes they write really horrible stuff to me, like personal, like crazy stuff that I don't even answer because they're clearly deranged.
Wow.
But when they send me really moronic comments, that's when I like have fun with it.
That's next level amazing.
The games that people get angry about too, it's like Bart versus the Space Aliens, or the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game, which is unplayable.
Yeah.
And people
the turtles
that you're destroying this game that sucks.
Yeah, what happened at Mario, like that there was that auction and a sealed Mario 9.
Oh, it sold for like $500,000.
And then they see that and they think a loose one's worth lots of money, but it's worth like $5.
Yeah.
I think the video game place down here on the corner, Game Dude, they have like this price list online. They say what they pay for a game. I think Super Mario Brothers is one of the games they only pay a nickel for. It's like sometimes there's a game like, we'll pay you $200 for this, and it's like everyone walks in the door with Super Mario.
Right.
Well, it came with the system.
Right. Yeah.
Right. In the 90s, the late 90s, I always liked the NES system. So I would just go to yard sales and buy them for $0.25. And I have a massive like load of them in the basement. Nice. So I must have 20 Marios down there. But it even got to the point, I actually don't even cut into real ones anymore. Those are all, I'll take like a Spy versus Spy and slap a Mario label on it.
How dare you destroy Spy versus Spy?
Yeah, because I don't know. It's like I grew a tenderness towards them after a while. After all the hatred.
Wow.
The people that have such spite and have such negativity towards the destruction of those games obviously never played the games.
Right.
Because sometimes when I see you destroy those games, I'm like, that's how I felt playing that game.
No, like Bart versus the Space Mutants was like the hardest game ever.
I beat that game.
Oh, you did?
Out of spite.
I beat Punch Out. That's the only game I've ever beaten.
That's one
Mike
that's worth
Tyson?
beating. That
That's
feels
a
like a
tough
victory.
game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got to Mike Tyson once
Mm.
without the code,
I think
and
the only
immediately got
game,
my ass kicked.
only game I ever beat was with a friend, and it was in the arcade. It was Smash TV,
I love that game.
Oh wow, that's a good game.
and it cost us about $40, about $20 each, and we
It's
just
kinda
kept
rare.
going. And then
It
we're
was
like,
worth it.
I don't know. It's like we would just keep going, and they're like, "Well, we got here this far," and it's like, "Okay, let's just do it." And if we made the commitment, that was a big deal. Like $20 back then on a video game. That
Yeah.
was, I was sort of like the $5 dude at the arcade. Okay, I got $5 to spend and
Right.
play my Pac-Man and whatever. But
I was on a field trip in probably 6th grade, and we each got $15 for like lunch and dinner.
Mhm.
And we found an arcade where we were, and I spent all $15, my friends, so we could beat the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game when it first came out.
Oh,
And then
Oh, that was a good one.
fucking
Sorry.
starving for the
Yeah.
rest of the day because I spent all my food money eating
It was
TMNT.
worth it.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
It was worth it. Yeah.
And did anybody notice?
I no.
You didn't tell anybody. You're just like itching for the next day.
It
You're
was like 86. Nobody cared.
On sale now.
all right. Well, let's just show you a couple cool things that we have on the site, because
Oh
at that, baby.
yeah.
Oh wow.
that's an exclusive that Steve made for us. It was edition of 20. I think there's 2 left on the site, maybe.
I
But
love
the
this piece.
funny thing about it is the little piece of the tip right there is sort of here in the package. You can see floating around, and then it bounces around. Fantastic piece. And then
That and what I love about it is when that is sitting amongst 400 Star Wars knockoffs, and then people are like, "Why is there a fucking death croissant on the table?" And that's the piece people pick up. They're like, "Oh my, what is this thing?" And then inevitably they would buy it. It was great.
the hot buttered croissant of death. All right, his little certificates on the back. Tilt card for feeding fun, and then you're supposed to like get it into his mouth there.
It's not hard to get into his mouth. I mean, it's right there.
There's another one we got on the site right now. I have a couple different variations.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Is
this
this
is so
one.
great.
So good.
And some of my
I'm
favorite.
most proud of the logo on that because
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
still reads as M&M's, but it's skulls.
it's fantastic. I would love it. If you were like in court and someone like tried to take you to task for this, like this is an M&M logo, and you're like, no, that's skulls. He's like, I can just imagine him presenting it to the jury. It's like, no, skulls.
Did you cast
Fantastic.
that M&M off of an existing piece and alter it, or did you sculpt that from scratch?
No, it's from an existing piece.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to do the least amount of work as possible ever.
Amen, brother.
This one's called Endems.
Love it.
So it has this on the back.
Oh, ended M's instead
Ended
of
M's. Sorry,
And, so clever.
I've been saying it wrong in my mind for.
Now it's time for What Did Dov Buy? Hey dude, what'd you get?
A couple of things came in the door. This one got cut out of an episode before, so I wanted to show this one again. This
Oh,
was
cool.
from Blitzkrieg,
Love this piece.
and I think it's Mexican vinyl, because it's this like pink thing, and it just I don't know. I just walked by it, and usually when I stop by the Creature Bazaar booth, it's I'm usually into like resin action figures, and it takes like it's really got to hit the heartstrings and the nostalgia, and then I just picked that up, and Brendan from Blitzkrieg just looked at it. He's like, "Take it." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? That's amazing." It's like this pink thing.
That was my number
I
one
love.
DinerCon. I didn't buy one of those, and I have regretted it since. That piece is incredible.
Same. I love it so much. You know what I really like about that? It doesn't say Blitzkrieg on it. It's sort of like floated out into the world,
If you know, you know.
And if you know, you know. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's so good.
I also got this set right here.
Whoa, those are Blitzkrieg?
Yeah.
Me too, yeah.
Holy
I love
shit,
those.
those are
They're
crazy.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this whole genre of like, you know, like this sci-fi fantasy, you know, like it's like Thundar the Barbarian, you know, it's like a Krull, it's like technology and medieval shit, like
I
and
love that.
magic. Just
Or He-Man too. Forgot
He-Man too, right? Just like it makes no sense. It's like here's my laser gun, and then I'm gonna cast a spell on you.
Yeah. Black
Fantastic.
Star.
And they're just
Yeah.
puppets. Like they're just
Yeah.
one piece. Fantastic thing there. And then let's just show the stuff from Scott here. Speaking of medieval stuff, is the Warduke.
I love it.
Are these still on your site, Scott?
Those are sold out.
These are sold out. So if you
You
if you
know.
didn't get one of these, then go fuck yourself.
I wasn't gonna say it, but that's the sentiment I'm going with. You know?
But so just to tease all you people who can't get it because they're sold out, I got a green one
Oh,
Oh wow.
and I got an orange one
nice.
and I got a red and blue one because I wanted a rainbow of these.
The red one, it just looks so. I don't know. There's something about the red one that those just all turned out so good.
Those are so good, Scott. I mean, just talk about a fucking.
You know, that was with help from Death and Strawberries. He had made the wax copy of that. I'd never sculpted in wax before, so that was sort of a crash course.
But I thought you're talking about the inside.
Yes, and the actual toy, I tracked it down. I might have talked about it on this show, but I tried to track that down for almost 10 years.
Have you ever seen what these look like in the package?
Yes.
But only in pictures, right?
The only pictures on the internet are of these in the package. And when I started looking for them, I was like these in the package. I go this must just been like a prototype or something, because I reached out to everyone and no one had it, no one heard of it, and I was just convinced that that they never got made.
Crazy. So speaking of sculpting, so Steve, did you go to school to learn to sculpt and do what you did? What you do? Did you go to? Is it something you developed on your own?
I went to industrial design. I went to Rochester Institute of Technology for industrial design, but I didn't really learn much there. I got out of there and I moved to New York City, and I didn't really have any money or anything. And I my first day in New York, first job interview, I got a job making models, like props and things for TV commercials. Just
That's
I was kind of like
awesome.
someone's assistant, but that I learned more in like 1 week on a job than I did in 4 years of college, just how to make stuff. Like casting, I learned how to cast there.
There are like toys, like there used to be, I don't know if there is, programs for toys, like for making toys in college.
FIT, but that was after my time. I'm older. I got there in '88, and
so the toy programs are older. I thought they were back like 60s, 70s, like the people who worked at Hasbro and Mattel went to like toy college kind of thing.
Well, the first like accredited one was FIT, and that wasn't until like the '90s.
Oh wow!
As a major, I guess you could take classes, but I don't know. I wanted to be an illustrator, and I kind of learned sculpting and stuff along the way. And the first, very odd, I created a line of toys called Skateboard Monsters in like 1989.
That sounds awesome.
It was just some guy approached me and he's like, "Hey, you're an artist. Do you know how to sculpt or anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah," I lied. I didn't. and so he had this idea for an invention, and it was a split ball with a wire, and he had this like little just stick figure on a surfboard. And I'm like, yeah, you should do something really cool in there, like a skateboarder or something. So I went home that night and I made these like like a monster on a skateboard. And then he put it on there and he brought it to the toy company. It was this like little small toy company. And they said, we don't like the idea, but we like that skateboarder. Why didn't we do those? Make these skateboard monsters. So he came back to me and he's like, I'll cut you in for half if you make 2 more. So I sculpted 2 more. And it was really crude sculpting. And I just thought, they would take it and someone better than me would sculpt it and make it look really good. But they just took my sculpts and cast them, made them in China.
Wow.
So at the age of like 22, I had a line of toys in Toys R Us.
Wow,
These
that's awesome.
really
were they the little tiny ones?
no. Well, ironically, like 3 other companies came out with skateboarding toys that year.
Wow.
But yeah, they kind of looked like little Red Hot Chili Peppers as monsters. They had,
just Flea's
they're
dick
out
hanging
there.
out.
Yeah, they're out there. But so that kind of, so I didn't actually, maybe 5 years later, I got a job at a toy company, and that's kind of how I got in the toy industry.
Wow. And so those were released at Toys R Us. How cool.
Yeah, it was. I was like, that was easy, and then they didn't have to
All gravy from here.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember at the very first Suckathon at Designer Con, we had this Sucklord set up at a desk and he was just interviewing people, and I would, people would walk by and I'd grab an artist and sit him on the couch and have him talk to them. And, he would ask everyone this question, like, would you rather have your work in Toys R Us or have your work in MoMA? All right. And like 90% of the artists said like, fuck yeah, I want my stuff in Toys R Us. Like it was like, that was like the goal. That was sort of like every artist, I gotta say at least 90% of, maybe interviewed 20 or 30 people, 90% were like, fuck yeah, they want their stuff in Toys R Us. Like that could get out to the most people. Having your stuff in like one stuffy museum, yeah, like, a certain number of people will see it every year, if it's on display. But having like, there was just a feeling that if the stuff was in Toys R Us, that you had arrived.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, it's kind of painful when you see it in the closeout bin or whatever, hanging in that bad aisle on Target.
Wow. Do you have any of them?
Oh yes, I do.
Are they proudly displayed in your home, or are they hiding in a box?
Hiding in a box. I don't really have a lot of room to display things.
What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Cincinnati right now. But I've lived all over the place.
Cincinnati has a history for toy making, though, doesn't it?
Yes, Kenner was here.
Kenner was
out there, yeah.
It's
right.
good.
I remember in the 90s, all like the hardcore Star Wars collectors would go to Cincinnati because crazy shit would show up in Cincinnati garage sales.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You could find like rocket firing Boba Fett's and shit like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then that's how they would find people who used to work there at Kenner. And then they would that's how like some of those collectors would just show up at someone's place, and they would do this deal with like all these collectors would get together, and like they found all the original sculpts for all the Power of the Force coins, like all these big plaster, and
Oh, yeah.
those always.
I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah.
We have some Uber collectors in our office.
I
actually have a guy who worked on Star Wars sitting 2 cubicles away from me every day.
Oh yeah? Nice. You worked on which Star Wars?
He got in there around Jedi. Like he worked on Jedi. He also designed a lot of Strawberry Shortcake stuff.
Well, speaking of Kenner, I got an Obvious Plant figure the other day, and he is not one to do many Star Wars figures.
It's the name, yeah.
But
oh yeah, I saw that one.
I don't know how many Chief Chirpas he had to go and try and locate in order to make this run, but Steve Walks jumped on that because
So great.
You got to
It's-
complete your Steves.
Yeah, there's just
Did
not a
he
lot of.
cast it or did he use an actual figure?
That's an actual Kenner figure.
Oh, it is? Okay, cool.
So that was a lot of fun. I didn't expect that. Like, you know, he did a line of Steves like years and years ago, but then this I don't know, this Ewok showed up. That was a lot of fun. And then Toys Alive was selling a piece from Hurt Toys the other day. This edition of 10. I think it's his first carded figure.
Yeah, those are so cool.
Yeah, that piece
It's
is
called the Skull Crusher, and
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I had to get in on that. And this
Love
is
that card.
has it's so Hurt Toys is I believe a tattoo artist, and he's getting into toys. I believe this is his first carded toy, and you know, combining his art with the figure, and both are great. And he's put it in this fancy clamshell that we sell, which is
is that the
fantastic.
DKE blister?
That is the DKE and Empire Toys.
Okay, sorry.
One of
Yeah,
my favorite
Her
things.
Toys does some really cool stuff.
And then normally not a one-off kind of guy, but I saw this figure and I don't know, just couldn't resist. It's called Motorboat Mickey.
I love that one.
Wow.
And this is it's just how like it's by Massive Mini Horse Productions here. I think he's on Instagram.
Yeah,
I think it's
I know him.
I think it's Eric Nichols. Is that right?
That's right. That's his name. Yeah, yeah.
I hope I'm saying it right.
Wow.
But like I said, you know, one-offs just, but sometimes like I had this little Mickey collection and whatever, I did it. Because how can you not?
Great, yeah. He's a
I
great
thought that,
guy. I
I thought
really
that was
like him.
extremely clever. Or, or I'm a pervert. I don't know.
Not the Jared kind. Sorry, I had to go there. And then I got some paintings on, you know, this was, I would say, a pretty light May the 4th. Usually on May the 4th, like everyone's releasing Star Wars stuff. And this year, most people were just showing photos of stuff they'd done in the past, which is great for the pocketbook. You know, it's just, but the guy over at, what's it, Mortarheads?
Yep.
He just had this set of paintings on the site. And it was like $120 for all four.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Okay. It was a blue snaggletooth and not a red, but you know, can't have everything you want.
Those
And
are great.
he actually makes these masks.
Yeah.
And then I guess you could hang
His
them
masks are
like that. But he makes masks not of like Greedo, like it's a mask of Greedo's Kenner figure. You know, the Hammerhead is like not Hammerhead from the movie, it's Hammerhead Kenner. Like they're crazy.
Yeah.
But I asked him once if he wanted to trade, but I just, you know, having latex masks, I don't know, like it's like too much. But
Is he the one who did the Steve Austin one recently?
yes.
Yeah, that's so cool.
His work is
Mask and
unbelievable.
yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
But then in the bottom of the box was this little keychain.
That's right. That's
and
awesome.
the set of art was awesome. It was a great deal. I was happy to own it. Happy to have a piece of his work. But on Wednesdays it says hashtag Walrusman Wednesday. So every Wednesday he's posting, and it's like that. Like this, you know, this speaks to me because I'm a nostalgia for him. But that's my life, you know. It's like, I don't know, chasing this feeling that I had as a kid. I mean, I guess, is that what it is? I know there's some collectors out there that I've spoken to who only collect things in who was it that told me that? They went and they collected vintage toys, but they would only buy stuff that they had as a kid. Like
That was me.
That was you?
Yeah. I think that's pretty common though.
You're the only one. No, it has to be more than that. That you only buy. I don't know.
I think that's a pretty basic I don't know, because I had to put parameters on my collection,
Mm.
and you know, I obviously didn't have this when I was a kid, but you know,
Uh-huh. I'm calling bullshit on your
this
I
wasn't
think
for the
there's a
collection. This was
combination,
for the art.
right? I think there's a combination of the things that you had as a kid that you loved, and then the things you didn't get to have.
Right,
Ah.
exactly.
I think there's a lot of those that, like, I mean, I end up buying, like, the part of the reason I got back into trading cards was because I wanted to finish the fucking Batman 90 or 89 movie trading card collection, and that was a gateway drug into the rest of it, you know. So I think it's a combination of wanting what you had and then wanting what you could not have.
Yeah.
I think the idea that I'm 50 and I'm a non-sport card collector is just ridiculous. Steve, do you collect anything?
Kind of like what you're talking about. For probably in my entire 30s and into my 40s, I collected every toy that I didn't have as a child,
Mhm.
or did have and got back. And you know, I had a massive collection. I was really into like big plastic, like Marvin Glass toys, like Great Garloo and
Oh
things like
wow.
that. And Migos. I got a lot of Migos. And then I started making art. Like I never really made art for art's sake. And once I started doing that, that fulfilled me a lot more than trying to fill the hole in my heart with toys I never
Collecting.
had.
Wow.
Right.
So I ended up selling off a lot of it. I still keep, you know, I still have a bunch of like loose Migos and just I collect slime. That's my, you know, slime from Mattel. I have original
Brand
sealed
new,
cans.
like in their little buckets.
Yeah, I have the original sealed cans of like slime with worms, slime with eyeballs. You know, it's really hard to find, so it still sloshes.
It's going to
Uh-huh.
be all powder at some point there.
Yeah, it's from like 1976, so
Wow.
likelihood of it not being dried up is very low. But I do have them, and
Do you
those are
get the
really.
licensed slime? Like, do you have like the Masters of the Universe and the Toxic Crusader and the Turtles and the
I
Ghostbusters?
mean the real it has like I do have Masters of the Universe because that's official Mattel slime in the garbage can, just like
Mhm.
the other ones.
with
But
the claw on the.
yes, but I don't really. I'm kind of a slime snob.
Wow.
There's like
Slime connoisseur.
yeah, it was called Blondie Blub in Latin American countries in Italy. So that's really hard to find. I'm trying to find that. So
Wow. And
Right.
are they opened or are they still sealed with like the
no, mine are
cellophane?
sealed with the slime still wet inside.
Wow.
I was at a
The-
convention once that the sign was like, "Come see the original Blob from the movie The Blob," which I love. And so I went, and you paid the dude like $5, and you went into this little room, and it was literally a container of powder, of like the pink powder, and that's all that was left from the
Funny.
original Blob. I was like, I just
That's
got
some P.T. Barnum shit right
totally
there.
was, and that was not a well spent $5. You weren't allowed to take pictures either. I was like, this is fucking stupid. But he got my
There
$5.
you go.
Wow.
Was there
That's,
Terminator slime?
I'm trying to think of that Terminator playset used slime. The only slime I have is the Toxic Crusader.
Yeah, so I sold off lots of my toys. I don't know. I'm saying lots, but I probably still have half my collection. I used to live in New Jersey, and I had like a house dedicated to collectibles,
Wow.
and I moved from there. And
And then you
I've moved
found
twice.
somehow you filled the emptiness in your life and then you sold off the toys.
Great. So, but
So-
once you have to move a couple times, you don't like those toys anymore.
Mm.
At one point, I had everything in storage for 6 years, and I totally even. And it's like I never think about this stuff. It's like, why did I give a shit? You know, why am I even keeping it? Because it's like I haven't thought about it. You know, but you know, once I got it out, I'm like, oh, I missed you. Come to daddy,
Yeah.
monster magnet.
Wow. This conversation is just making me kind of sad inside.
No, you can fill it with tiny resin Tic Tacs.
Right, right. No, but once I started doing art, it's like I could just make whatever I want now. I don't need to buy anything. So I buy very little nowadays.
My wife is. I don't want her to watch this episode because she's gonna be like, he got rid of it. He doesn't need the storage space for all his shit. Like,
I'm just imagining that if, like, you know, everyone in the world just was fulfilled by their own creativity, and like collecting would all just go away.
Right. Actually, I could take that whole collection behind you. I could make on Tic Tacs and fit it in my pocket.
Wow.
I loved Evil Knievel, like the stunt cycle.
Yeah.
I searched to find the most mint one ever, unused. Took me years to find the most perfect one. And I had it, and I actually opened it. It was sealed, and I opened it just so I could pull it out, and the stickers are still in there, everything. And I was at a show, and someone stole it from me.
oh
No!
That broke my heart. It was a kind of a weird fantasy, but I was thinking, you know what? When I'm 80 years old and I know I'm not gonna live any longer, I'm gonna put the stickers on it. I'm gonna take it out in the yard and I'm gonna crank it up.
Let it.
It's not gonna happen.
That's amazing.
There's a dude on Instagram that only posts of him making these gigantic, elaborate ramps and him launching his Evil Knievel toys.
Oh, that's so cool.
Big flaming circles.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're awesome. They all get like 1 million views. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest toys ever. Like if you played with one, it just like any power that you put into it, it revs it up, and it's so cool.
It's funny that you say that, like, because we're talking about how I ended up buying a lot of things that I couldn't have when I was a kid. The stuff that got stolen from me, I can't bring myself to buy again. Like somebody stole my Optimus Prime, and I was devastated.
Wow.
And I can't bring myself to buy another Optimus Prime. Like it's like I just don't even want it in my life.
Maybe you need to steal it from somebody else.
Ooh,
there it is.
Is there a child around that has a
therapy?
Optimus Prime I can steal?
Amazing.
Are you sure it was stolen and you didn't just blow it up?
Oh no, I know it was stolen. The kid up the street was like, "Hey, I'll trade you that for this stupid GI Joe terror." It was like a gun thing. They had 2 guns. I didn't even collect GI Joe. I was like, no, I'm not going to trade it. And then I went inside to get something and came out, and he was gone, and the GI Joe thing was on my porch, and my Optimus Prime was gone. So I am positive that he stole it.
Right. And like, did you tell your parents? Like,
yeah, and I went up to his house and I knocked on his door, and his parents were like, "No, he's got one of those." And I'm like, "You motherfuckers, no, he doesn't." He was just
wow. The parents were backing the kid up.
Parents backed the kid. This was a life lesson. Don't trust him.
Well, that all makes sense now. Well, the kid's an asshole.
Yeah,
that would have gone on like very differently today.
Yeah.
You know, there would be like some like intervention and like parents meeting, and it's like, okay, well, Timmy stole this thing, and you know, we got to do this. You know, it's like, and back then it's
and
like,
then we
my
shame
kid stole
him
your
on
toys.
Instagram.
Like,
yeah.
I will say I remember going to that kid's because I'd never been in his house. We weren't friends. He was just a neighborhood kid. And when I went into his house to try to get it back, his whole house smelled like shit. So I guess maybe that was like the one thing in life he needed to stop the fact that his house literally smelled like doo-doo. I don't know. He must have had it. I give the victories to the small people because they need them more than I.
that's crazy. What a story.
Yeah. This episode really went down some weird paths where started with Jared from Subway and ended up with Doo-Doo House.
There's toys I had as a kid. It wasn't too much. I didn't have a lot of opportunity to get toys. It was weird. Like birthday and holidays were sort of like when I would get toys, and then I've probably spoken about this before on the show. It's like I had friends that they just got toys year round. Hey, I got the new Star Wars figures. It's like, well, why? Is it your birthday? Like, no. It's not the holiday. It's like how your parents just bought you a toy.
Yeah.
Just like they're like, hey, Timmy, like come to the store. So if your name's Timmy, I'm sorry.
Usually the kids whose dad had a secret second family had all the toys.
Yeah.
You know, the kid that had the SS flag in his bedroom. There was something.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard something the other day where it was like deadbeat dads give the best present.
Now I remember just like complaining like endlessly because every time we went to the store to buy Star Wars figures, like there were no Luke Skywalkers, there were no Darth Vaders. It was just like fucking power droids. And I was like, where's like I need the main characters. And I don't know what like I maybe I just complained so much that my dad, I don't know, he got on the phone, whatever. Like he took me to this little store in Santa Monica. And I don't know what he was expecting because then he took me to the store that had all this stuff. Like he was going to take me there and like show it to me and like not buy it. I don't understand. I don't understand like the motivation. Like, cause we would go to Sears and we'd go to Kmart, we'd go there and like everything, like Star Wars toys were just gone. Like I remember my mom took me to Fedco and it was like the Star Wars, there was nothing. There's just a bunch of peg warmers. All that was there was like animated Flash Gordon. And that's why I guess I'll get Ming the Merciless. Okay, fine. Which it's funny because I love that line and I'm collecting that line now and I've rewatched those cartoons and it's like the nostalgia for that is it's we could talk about that for an hour because every episode of that cartoon is just about these sexually frustrated women who are the bad guys trying to fuck Flash and he just says no. It's like, okay, well fine, then I'm gonna kill you. And then he's just trying to make Dale jealous. And that's every episode. Anyway, sorry. Sorry to go off on that tangent. But so we walked into the store in Santa Monica and it was weird because I don't even remember like I remember walking in there and it just was like this rack and there was every Star Wars figure ever, every 12-pack, I didn't know what a 12-pack was, but all the original figures were there. And I'm like, okay, can we buy some? And I don't know if he was caught off guard. And I was like, well, how many can we buy? Like what's going on? Like I can't buy it, you know. And we walked out of there and I don't know what his expectation was. Like I was excited and probably bouncing off the walls and crying. I don't know what I don't remember at all. I just remember walking into there and I saw a Luke Skywalker and a Han Solo and a Princess Leia and a Chewbacca. And I was like, holy shit. After going to so many stores, it just, you know, because I'm sure whenever we went was the, you know, like, I don't know. I can't really explain it. And so I think I came away, I have to say I came away with a half a dozen or 8 figures or something like that. But my dad didn't want to give them to me all at once. And so he kept them in his trunk. And like every week he would give me one. And then I remember like he gave me one and I took it home. And then my parents were divorced at the time. And I remember my mom like distinctly like yelling at my dad saying, "What are you doing? You're spoiling him." I was like, shit, like, wow. Memories.
Well, now I swing the exact opposite way with my kid, where she's like, "I like this thing," and I'm like, "Here's 60 of them." Like,
right?
Yeah, here's the entire set.
Don't suffer the way I did.
Yeah, but then I think if you give your kids all this stuff, I think they grow up and they don't care. So maybe you're doing them a favor.
Maybe I am. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to you before about how I think I'm gonna have to sell all this shit in my lifetime because I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think either of my kids are gonna want a full-time job like selling this shit. Like,
Right.
they're selling all of dad's crap. Yeah. It's like that's what I wanted to do with my life, you know, because you hope that they like find some sort of fulfillment. I think Steve is a great example. Like he's fulfilled through his art, and so he doesn't need to own stuff.
Yeah.
That is something that none of the people watching this show identify with. Zero.
Now that he's not here, we can talk about what a good influence he is.
See, I always called Dov the Citizen Kane of Star Wars toys. So maybe that, like at the end of Citizen Kane, where they're just shoveling all this shit into a furnace.
Like Rosebud.
It's just a Greedo flaming.
Yeah, Dove is like firing Boba Fett. And then he drops it.
So talking about all this in childhood toys, So the reason I'm actually good at toy inventing is because I didn't get a lot of toys as a kid. And I did a lot of toys as a kid. And all I had was like the J.C. Penney's or Sears catalog. And I would just study that thing.
Huh.
And I'd maybe get one thing out of it. Like, you know, I could get like a $6 million man or something. But I would just sit there and read the descriptions and I'd memorize the whole thing. So, and I didn't know that I was like teaching myself like features of toys, but I read all the descriptions and knew what every toy did. And I retained that information until I was an adult. And when I was in a toy company and the opportunity presented itself to like come up with ideas, I had all these features in my head of every toy that I ever saw in this catalog
That's a
for
crazy
like a
insight.
10-year span, you know, as a child.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's weird. So I was deprived of toys and I became a toy inventor. So it's very odd.
Because
And it's funny because I hear people who like complaining about their kids playing video games or whatever. And it's like, you know, if you deprive them, you never know how what you're going to do affects them, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
So-
I storytelling is the big thing for me. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of that, now that you're saying that, I was always making up stories to use the same 15 figures I had in all
Right.
these different worlds into new ways and combining them. And like, so that's interesting that maybe it was the lack of options that I had that taught me how to tell a story.
Right.
Well, that's the biggest complaint about Lego right now, is that Lego, when we were kids, you'd got a bucket of Legos and you'd build something and then you'd
Right.
pull it apart and you'd build something else. And my kids, when they get Lego, they sit there and they just follow the directions and then they build it and then they put it on the shelf and then they don't touch it. You know, it's like,
Right.
oh, I made my, you know, my whatever, my Minecraft setup, and it's like, look at it. It's like, here it is. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, now pull it apart and make something else. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like it's, I made it exactly how it's supposed to be made. Like, okay, now, so now it's a statue and it's not
Right.
something you played with. And I remember when my kids were younger, like Suckler was sleeping on the couch or something, and he was just sitting there with this bucket of Lego, like trying to put something together. And so when you have pieces of a Star Wars ship, you know, like in a bucket and you're trying to build something, he's like, I can't build anything. He's like, I don't have any bricks. I just have these like angular pieces and these like these antenna and the, you know, it's like these little one by one, is just, there's nothing here. I can't build. I need some fucking bricks. It's like, you can imagine how that went.
Yeah, that's true. They're so specific now.
Right. And, you know, to their credit, they've become the largest toy company in the world, based on that, and based on the licenses, getting away from the playability, and going into licensing.
We got deep. We got deep here at the end.
It got deep.
Yeah, it
It's just,
did.
like, sometimes I like watch these shows back and I'm like, oh God, no one's going to watch the next show because it just gets too depressing.
Oh, everyone's gonna love it.
I feel great.
What do I owe you?
He's like, I don't have to move any shit. You guys know.
It's just wow. I got nothing. That was all right, Steve. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time and being with us. It's
Oh, thank you for having me.
been a
Very
pleasure to
insightful. Yeah.
take a
Always
deep
a
dive into your brain there and how you work. Can you tell the people where we can find you online?
Steve Casino on Instagram. I have an art show coming up at Heroes Complex Gallery November 2nd. The solo show.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
I just started cranking out stuff for it. It's the early
Fantastic.
days.
It's still fun. You haven't gotten your own shit.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, in 2 months I go, there's no way I'm gonna make any of this shit.
Are you flying out to LA for the show?
Yes, I'm actually going to be in LA working next week at Spin Master.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm going to go to the gallery and check it out next Friday.
All right, when you're in town, let us know.
Okay.
Dov can show you some
Yes.
tacos.
What's that part?
Dov can show you some taco spots. That's
Oh, nice.
Superpower.
You know, if you misheard what he said, it sounds kind of dirty, but
True. I didn't say it right the first time. Sorry.
yeah. All right, guys. Janky, Scott, anything else?
One thing, this happened, I think, 1 or 2 weeks ago, but I took part in the WTF World Wrestling Toy Federation online show.
Watching those videos on Instagram was a lot of fun.
I gotta say, I've never done one of these Instagram toy shows before, and I had a blast doing that. So I just wanted to tip my hat to Angry Beast and to Lab Monkey number 9, because they put on a really, really fun show where we're all making, you know, promo videos and calling each other out, and the work was fantastic. It was a really
I liked your figure. I really liked the card.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Cut, but if you know, you know.
It's funny because as I was scrolling through, and then I saw this video of somebody, and they were just like talking shit, and I'm like, "What's going on here on Instagram? Like, what did I miss?" And then, like, as I'm growing through, it's like, "Oh, I got the wrestling thing," and it's like, "Oh." Then I just started like clicking on hashtags, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That was a really fun addition to just having like an online toy art show. Is to have those wrestling promos. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah,
that was really good.
That was a great show. So thanks for including me, and bravo, gentlemen, kicked ass on it, and that's all I got.
Mr. Cherry,
BarbarianRage.com.
Woo!
Amazing. The last interview was posted is with Man or Monster. Check that out. It is on YouTube.
I love that guy.
Right now, if you place an order at DKEToys.com in the store, if you mention DKE Toys TV in the note section, you'll get a free invisible Sucklord. Also, all orders while supplies last get the Count Draco Knuckle Duster Killer Bootlegs card by Mark Pingator. This is card B. You get card A from Peter over at Killer Bootlegs. There's all sorts of cool promos that are in. Tom from Sidekick just sent us boxes of crazy cards. What was it? There's like one set of like GM trucks. He sent like, you know,
like the history of Ford or something.
It's something like that. So everyone gets a set of those. It's still a lot of fun.
Really.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at DKE Toys. Subscribe on YouTube at DKE Toys. If you're happy with us, write us a Google review. It's always appreciated. If you have a complaint, well then don't say anything. If you need to reach me, it's dketoys@gmail.com. If you want to reach Janky, comment about the show, have us talk about whatever you want us to talk about on the show, dketoystv@gmail.com. And the next show in 2 weeks is going to be Boba Fett Volume 2 with George Gaspar, Double G Toys.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So that is going to be a fun one. Looking forward to all the crazy Boba Fetts.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Take care.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, fresh. These bags.
You've forgotten how to do it. It's been too long.
No, I got cut off.
I think that was the best one yet.